Good evening and welcome to the LaRouche Movement's weekly battle report. Today is January 14th, 2026. I'm Michelle Aaron, your host. Wow. Could we be living in more turbulent times? The global majority, as led by the BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and especially with the peaceful and cooperative leadership role of China, continues its progress towards development, building infrastructure, raising standards of living and life expectancy, demonstrating the effectiveness of new principles of human society like win-win cooperation as opposed to I win, you lose. Meanwhile, in the West, we can't seem to stop war, as in Ukraine, to stop genocide in Gaza, to protect people around the world from the depredations of poverty and infringements upon freedom. Which nation will the U.S. Trump administration take over next? Venezuela? Check. Iran? Maybe tomorrow. The United States itself? With many U.S. leaders showing inhumanity in their unsympathetic reactions to the killing of civilian Renee Good, who was shot and killed by an ICE officer in Minnesota last week, will the U.S. continue down the ugly road to fascism? Lyndon LaRouche warned in his 1980 book, The Ugly Truth About Milton Friedman, that fascism is an inevitable outcome of monetarist economic policy. The police state measures become necessary to enforce the crushing of the people. But what are we here doing about it? We're here with the LaRouche movement because we intend to change the tide, to intervene. This past week, the voice of the international LaRouche movement reverberated across the globe with two important events. The first was the official campaign launch of the U.S. presidential campaign of Diane Sare. The second was a roundtable discussion held on Monday by EIR, the Executive Intelligence Review, the intelligence service of the LaRouche movement. Let's go now to a campaign video of the U.S. presidential campaign of Diane Sare, whose campaign is endorsed by the LaRouche organization. This video is not just great to watch, it's a powerful tool for you to share, to post, to show people on your phone at the grocery store or the library. Get this video out and send in your organizing reports, thoughts, feedback to info@laroucheorganization.com.
Do you want to do something really bold? I mean, as a nation, and good, like going to the moon, to do something that will change the world forever, in the spirit of President Kennedy.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.
This is why I am proposing that we build the Bering Strait Tunnel connecting Manhattan to Moscow. And I am running for President of the United States to make sure we get it done. Think about what it means to connect North America to Eurasia. Do you realize you're connecting the entire world? With the Bering Strait connection, a person could travel by modern high-speed rail from the tip of Argentina to the tip of South Africa. The tunnel will be connected to the industrial heartland of America. We need 43,000 miles of modern high-speed rail in the United States alone. These projects will require massive amounts of concrete and steel, as well as skilled workers and new cities at critical hubs along the way. Think about the Erie Canal and the Transcontinental Railroad. what these great projects contributed to the physical economic capability of the United States and the power of the American worker. How will we pay for this project? We're coming after BlackRock's Larry Fink and JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon. We're going to stop bailing out the Wall Street friends of Jeffrey Epstein, and we're going to stop spending billions of dollars killing people all over the planet. Contrary to the stated view of Senator Lindsey Graham, war is not cheap. We will separate the banks by reinstating the Glass-Steagall Act and put the Federal Reserve through bankruptcy reorganization and create a constitutional national bank. We never elected Fink, Dimon, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, or Miriam Adelson, and they should not be dictating American policy. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of building this new transport corridor will be the transformed orientation of our nation to the rest of the world. We will partner with our old friends, Russia and China, with whom we defeated fascism in World War II, and together we will collaborate with the nations of Africa to unleash the most spectacular renaissance mankind has ever experienced. Perhaps Western Europe, under these conditions, will abandon its suicidal policy of forever war against Russia and return to its classical tradition. We will not invade Venezuela or Panama, but partner with them and other nations to increase trade and productivity throughout the Americas. Southwest Asia will become an important crossroads of civilization, and genocide will not be tolerated. Every person on the planet has an equal right to live in peace, security, and economic prosperity. On the 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence and the 200th anniversary of John Quincy Adams' presidency, the United States must strive to perfect our union, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. If we take this bold initiative, which goes back to Abraham Lincoln's Transcontinental Railroad and was revived by former U.S. presidential candidate Lyndon LaRouche, who was an expert in American system economics, the wars will end, inflation will stop, and your children will be able to afford a home of their own and raise a family. I believe that this is the future most Americans want. Join me.
What a wonderful campaign tool. No platitudes, no lies. Big, necessary, and optimistic ideas. This video was released concurrent with the Sare for President launch event held this past Saturday in Manhattan. The event had a full room of very serious attendees, most of whom stayed for the entire 3 hours of speeches, in-depth speeches, without getting up from their seats, as well as a couple hundred watchers over Zoom. The speaker roster, all potential advisors to Diane's campaign, was incredible, including Colonel Douglas McGregor, Helga Zepp-LaRouche, Jacques Cheminade, Scott Ritter, Garland Nixon, a group of farm leaders from across the United States, a full team of science experts, and a young woman engineer. You're encouraged to watch the full proceedings as they become available. Diane's keynote speech, "We Have No Other Option," is available now. Watch it. If you want to know what a president should sound like, because it's certainly been a very long time since we have had anyone running for office, since Mr. LaRouche, Lyndon LaRouche, stopped running many years ago, watch this video. And if you want other people to know what expectations they should have for their leaders, because people's expectations have dropped to what? The lesser of two evils? So if you want people to know what they should be expecting in their leaders, have them watch this speech as well. Now, very exciting, we have 2 quick photos from Friends of LaRouche in Denmark who were out organizing this week. They were out at the University of Roskilde speaking to students, mobilizing for a youth movement, and they have a couple of signs there that say, "Stop the genocide," "Get out of NATO," "Join the BRICS," and the other sign says they support Diane Sare for US president because they would like to make America good again. So thank you, our friends in Denmark. Now to the other event this week. In the wake of the illegal invasion of and kidnapping of the leader of Venezuela by the US Trump administration, this past Monday, EIR, the news service of the LaRouche movement, pulled together an emergency roundtable discussion titled, "It's Worse Than You Think: The Implications of the Attack on Venezuela and How to Bring the World Back." This roundtable pulled together a wonderful set of high-level speakers representing all continents, including countries such as the United States, South Africa, Russia, China, Germany, and others. You'll see in the video the little titles will give you the names of each of the presenters. The video has over 1,500 views on the EIR YouTube, but also over 6,500 views as co-streamed on the channel of our friend Garland Nixon. We will now watch a video with short excerpts from each of the speakers so that you can hear some of the voices, see the faces, get a taste for some of their thoughts, perhaps be provoked to go watch the full presentations. At the end of the montage, we will have several little clips that we put together to give you a flavor for what was done by Dennis Small from EIR and especially the Ibero-America desk of EIR, who put onto the table in the discussion our unique flank, our unique intervention.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of the Schiller Institute, I welcome you. We have assembled here today not to lament the unprecedented situation of what only can be described as a threat to the existence of the entire human civilization, but to discuss, analyze, and catapult an international response to restore international law.
The events of this past year, while horrifying, are no surprise. They confirm our experience as developing countries that most of the powerful countries of the West believe they have the power to ride roughshod over the rights of all non-European nations. Africa and other developing regions of the world have borne the brunt of colonial exploitation and underdevelopment for centuries.
The United States has a long and shameful record of unilateral military interventions. From Iraq to Libya to Panama, the list stretches on, has brought nothing but chaos, human suffering, and protracted instability to the countries and peoples of these countries. This latest provocation has sparked worldwide condemnation. China has denounced US action, which constitutes a serious breach of international law and a blatant encroachment upon Venezuela's inherent rights, including its unshakable sovereignty over all its natural resources, economic activities. China firmly supports the government and the people of Venezuela in safeguarding their sovereignty, security, and legitimate rights and interests, and supports the regional countries in upholding the status of Latin America and Caribbean as a zone of peace.
We're here not to engage in polemics, but to avert a tragedy, the apparently inexorable unfolding of foreseeably terrible events. As German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier has just warned us, we are in the midst of what he called a breakdown of values. that is turning the world, quote, into a den of robbers, where the most unscrupulous take whatever they want, unquote, and where entire regions or countries are treated as the property of a few great powers.
I must say, however, that I take a much bleaker view of where we are and where we're moving to. I think that there's no question in my mind that the world is in crisis. That is a functional analogy of a world war.
If the laws and institutions cannot be used by the powerful United States to achieve its end, then they're trying to get them discarded. The Trump regime has taken on itself the power to change governments and to take whatever it wants by force.
I want to say that I firmly stand by the good America that still exists. We must help this good America to get on its feet and to do so with compassion and honesty, but also with fortitude and determination in rejecting the irresponsible muscle politics, the brutality, the immorality, and the dishonesty of the present US administration.
I would not point a finger at the Donald Trump administration alone. I think the rest of the world is equally responsible for allowing this state of affairs to happen to us.
Donald Trump and his close followers are involved in the logic of responding in a brutal fashion. I would call this the death rattle of a bankrupt financial system that conceives of the world only as a jungle, and what is at issue is perhaps the entire world to see whoever is the strongest will take control of it.
Where is the system's Achilles heel? We've certainly described and discussed many of the problems, but that issue defines scientifically the way to a solution. I would propose that there are actually two Achilles heels. Perhaps the most fundamental is the very concept of man underlying this current imperial system and the savagery we're seeing. The other Achilles heel of the system, and note that I did not say United States, of the system, of the global financial system, is the financial system which is about to blow apart into smithereens. Total global world financial aggregates now total approximately $2.4 quadrillion. Trump now proposes that for 2026, the budget for the military will rise to $1.5 trillion. So what we're looking at is that over a third of the entire budget of the United States will go to either the military or interest payments. Now, why do I include these together? Because the military budget, the military-industrial complex, is actually not a military-industrial complex. It is a military-industrial financial complex. It is this, I would argue, that is what is ultimately behind the looting wars. It is behind the genocide we've seen in Gaza. And it will be behind, if we allow it to happen, the exact same policies that we saw with Auschwitz implemented today. And we are beginning to see the first signs of this. The threat to the global financial empire of nuclear retaliation if they escalate, in other words, the doctrine of mutual and assured destruction, only functions if there is a modicum of sanity in the West. That modicum of sanity is rapidly disappearing. Merely generating more mutual and assured destruction is not going to work. The way to stop the financial problem is not to go after the military problem. The way to stop the military problem is to go after the financial problem. That is the Achilles heel.
And Dennis continues in his presentation to lay out exactly the emergency measures needed to put the system through bankruptcy reorganization, starting with, you guessed it, Glass-Steagall. He also covers a lot of the economic development potential for Venezuela and the world. Let's get a taste of that development potential with a video short now being circulated on TikTok by EIR News.
Really is what the Venezuela operation is all about. And it's stated very clearly by the Southern Command. We will not allow China to have a foothold in the Americas because they don't want this to challenge Wall Street and the City of London. Now, this is what South America looks like to everyone in South America and the Caribbean. Just a handful of the great projects which China has either already built or is proposed to build. And these are just a few of them. So this is the option being presented to people who look at the world from the developing sector, from the South. And if you compare what China has proposed to what the United States has proposed and built in the last 2 decades, you'll see the comparison. This is China. This is the United States. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So this is another good video short to share to your networks. It's hosted on TikTok. It makes the point, but in a different way. And I think the graphics of the projects are something that many people may not be aware of, may not be familiar with. So the organizing that we've done in this past week has been incredible. Moving forward, your organizing is the key. In his remarks to the Diane Sare campaign kickoff this past Saturday, veteran radio and TV political analyst Garland Nixon emphasized that this may be the moment when the right message, the message of Diane Sare, will be heard. But if we are silent, how will we be heard? So get out there and organize. Download, print, and distribute flyers. Share videos online. Go out and talk to people. If you need pamphlets, give us a call. And please, between now and next week, send photos, videos of your organizing in to us to have in next week's episode at info@laroucheorganization.com.